We'd like to bring the Strategic Planning Committee meeting of Monday, April 2nd, 2012 to order. With that, we'll have a pledge, and Terry, would you lead the pledge, and we'll say a prayer. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for all the good things you've given us in Ascension Parish. Please allow us to go through tonight without too bad of weather, that everyone stays home safe. We'd like to ask you to make us make good decisions on all the things we have for the people of Ascension Parish, and that we move forward and everyone arrive home safely. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ira, Benny and Terry are here. Brian and Dempsey are not present at this time. Public comment period. Anyone wishing to comment on any agenda item, please come forward and sign up, and you have your 3 minutes. Just for information, we're trying to have some of these issues where we are putting out there, and we have some people work on solving some of these problems. That's going to take a long period of time, and so we want to address these issues and try to have some discussions while we try to figure out how we're going to accomplish these basic issues that we have facing us in the parish. First thing is trying to get an update on our adjudication parish court. Ms. Carla Bourgeois, can you give us something to see where we are, because we're really not sure.
I was not able to put together any presentation, but I can tell you where we are.
Sure.
Since the adoption of our ordinance, we received approximately 35 complaints to the Planning and Zoning Committee. Of those 39, 29 of those complaints either were found not to be in violation or were brought into compliance with the ordinance. 6 did come to our adjudication court. We had 3 sessions. All of those were given additional time by the judge to clean up, and they did, with the exception of 1. So we've rendered 1 monetary judgment since the court started. We were rolling along, and then our judge had to resign for health reasons. We do have 2 candidates that I'm talking with now that are interested in taking that position. I checked with Planning and Zoning today. They have 8 complaints that are in the pipeline. I have 6 on my desk that need to be coming to the court. So as soon as we get a new judge, we'll be rolling again.
Okay. Is there anything, Carla, we need to do to assist in getting a judge, establishing a judge, or any way to assist y'all in moving forward?
It's just a time thing.
Okay.
Of course, we'll have to bring them to council before they can even start, having them adopted. But hopefully, I would hope by the end of the month, I'll be able to give a Tommy and make a choice on one.
Okay. And I guess the other thing is, there's anywhere that we can expand to include. I know in the past we've had some issues that has been brought to us and said one of the problems we have is we can't enforce it. It's
Right.
unenforceable because we had no method of enforcing.
Right.
Any of those things that come forward are problems, please let us know as a council so that we can address those issues and have them
That's
also
certainly
come
been
to
a goal of this particular program. Of course, I'm waiting on O'Neill to get some free time so I can discuss with him what we have to do to bring other ordinances in front of the court.
Okay.
So as soon as we get that all settled, but we need a judge first. So as soon as I get that back up and running, my next goal would be to try to bring in the next phase. And it would be up to y'all what ordinance you want to bring in.
Yeah, and just to let people know, I mean, nothing happens overnight on these things because we have to
Absolutely.
go through council approval on everything. And
Right.
but
Overall, I think the ordinance has been a success. We've not had, like I said, we had 35 complaints, and 29 of those came into compliance or were not in compliance. So knowing it's out there and knowing now we're enforcing it, I think it's making a big
And
difference.
then out of the rest of them, 5 out of 6
Right, 5
came
out of
into
6.
compliance without any issues. And
Right.
I think that 34 out of 35 is a pretty good record,
I do
and
too.
that's the idea. We don't want to fine people. We just want people to comply and be good neighbors.
Right.
That's
The
all.
6 that did come in front of our judge at the time, he gave them an additional 30 days, and we had them re-inspected, and all but one, came into compliance. And even that one, I think, came pretty close. We had one, like I said, one judicial lien that was placed, but that was for a failure to pay court cost. And that property eventually did come back up.
Okay, so
Ms. Carla, what was, out of the ordinances that we're talking about, which one was probably most prevalent that the court dealt with? Was
Oh,
it-
junk cars, definitely.
cars.
Absolutely, junk cars,
okay.
yeah. And of course, that, we had to wait for some legislation to pass that would give us the authority to go on the property and get the cars. That's all in place, has been run by, the legal department. I need to meet with the sheriff on it, just to make sure he's clear that we do have the right to send our inspectors on property. And we've not had the occasion to do it yet, but should it come up, we can.
And for everybody's benefit, can you give the number that, because everything's based on a complaint basis, on
Correct.
filing a complaint. Can you give the number that people need to contact?
Oh, you're going to ask me that. It's our planning and zoning department,
Okay,
Ricky Compton's office. I
okay.
couldn't quote that number if you made me right now.
Terry, you have any questions or anything?
I'm caught up. Every question I had was asked by this gentleman and answered by that.
We
by
urge the
Carla.
public to
Thank
call
you.
in. Our court is not enforceable right now, or enforced right now, but we do plan on getting it back up and running. But most people, we found, when the inspector goes and approaches them, we send them a letter the first time, give them so many days to clean up whatever the inspector reports. And I've been amazed at how many have actually taken the step to clean that up.
That's great. That's right. Well, we appreciate it, Ms. Carl. I know you did a great deal of legwork on this, and without your help, I know it would have been impossible, so thank
Well,
you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, discussion of noise ordinance, and we have this as discussion right now. As you know, we had a noise ordinance in place that was based, years ago, based on decibel level of noise at a certain point on the property and for a certain period of time, and it was in discussions with the sheriff's office, it was very, very hard to pin someone down on that, and if the noise was moving, that was a problem, and so on and so forth. And so we worked with the sheriff's office and came up with a noise ordinance that we have on the book. In fact, it's still currently on the book. However, it went to court, and the court has struck it down as not compliant with constitutional. And therefore, we need to revisit this. O'Neill has begun to look at it, and we just wanted to try to get as many opinions as we could. In speaking with Deputy Bacala of the Sheriff's Office, he would like something as close as possible to what we had, because that has been working very well for us. The Sheriff's Office is concerned of getting these nuisances solved, but in the court system, it was very hard to have a definitive decibel level, and so we have to try to find a commonality there that would be acceptable by the courts and enforceable by the Sheriff's Department. They say one of the biggest problems is the moving sounds and the sounds that are temporary and can be abruptly changed before and after sheriff's officers arrive. So those are the type of things that we have to address. O'Neill couldn't make it tonight, and but he has begun working on that, and we just need some input from council members about your thoughts and ideas and everything as how we can move forward. I have committed to work with the judges and see what's acceptable, and and the sheriff's department and see if we can come up with some kind of compromise and ideas from there. Mr. Johnson.
As I understand, what happened in court was that the ordinance was struck down because of the vagueness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we originally changed the ordinance, that was part of what the sheriff's office was having an issue with, was the fact that even though the decibel meter wasn't necessarily reading the 85 or whatever the level was, I forget, that was in the ordinance, it was still an issue with some neighbors and so forth and so on, so they wanted a discretion in order to be able to deal with that type of an issue. So I think what we're going to need to do is get a compromise, like you were talking about, somewhere between what the what the sheriff's office can enforce and what the courts are willing to accept, and whether that's, but unfortunately it sounds like there's going to have to be some type of measurement of the sound that they can pinpoint to exactly what is a nuisance and what is not. So I think, I don't know if anybody else has it, and I'm sure Neil's looking into that, but I would encourage looking in to see what other municipalities or parishes are doing as far as noise ordinances and how they're enforcing it. And we may need to sit down and have a round table with representative of the court system and somebody from the sheriff's office, and maybe in some of the municipalities to determine what we're going to have to put in this ordinance to make it enforceable. So I recommend that we just make sure that we are diligent when we go through and researching this, and make sure what we come up with is going to be enforceable, as well as meet the criteria that the court needs.
And what we did, we went very close to what Baton Rouge has. It's very, very close to that. One of the problems we had with a decibel is the type of number, and they came up, the old one was 85 decibels, which is a very loud sound. You had to get, we would need to make it simpler, because you had to get 3 readings, and it had to be so far from the property line and so many feet off the ground and so on and so forth. It was almost impossible to ever have anybody with noise loud enough for long enough to violate the ordinance. And we had people that were turning on music at 70 decibels or 75 decibels for 10 hours in the evening as soon as somebody came home until the next morning. And it was very, very, very nuisance and very aggravating, and yet it didn't break any noise ordinances. So those are the type of things that what ends up happening is this is basically a nuisance ordinance that bothers people and is not good neighbors. So we have to address those issues. So those are all the things that we have within it, and hopefully we can address all those issues and come up to something that will give people peace of mind and yet give people the rights to enjoy the things that they need to do around here. And we certainly don't want to stop anybody from having a good time and having parties and the way they should be in this parish. So, any other comments? Just something else to think about. Third thing is proposals on garbage district. We have a situation right now where we are have a number of vendors within the parish, all independent, that are doing garbage on an individual basis. The costs are outside of the municipalities are probably between $25 and $28 a month, and consists of one pickup, and it's only garbage, and it's not recycling, it's not goods on the side of the road, and so on. So what we're looking to do is try to get a more comprehensive pickup where we include recycling. And just to give an example, I think Point Coupee in the last couple of months has a parish-wide garbage pickup that they have. And Beth, if you have the numbers on that, I think it's around $14 or $15. $18? Okay. $18 a month. Could you come to the mic and give us a report on that, please?
Mr. Chairman, members of the Strategic Planning Committee, I'm Beth James with the Parish President's Office. We haven't done any real proposals on this. We've been talking to our peers in different parishes, namely Jefferson at the highest point in population on down to Point Capee, and then Terrebonne, Lafourche, Calcasieu, and St. Tammany in the middle, and trying to get a gauge of what they're doing, what their services are, how their contracts are running, if they're satisfied with it, and just trying to come up with a plan so that we can help you all implement this.
And what was the cost at,
I
Point
don't have
Capee?
any of the numbers with me.
I think it was around $18.
But Point Capee was $18. They were at 13, and they increased it to 18.
And they did recycling and
And curb
curbside,
service.
curbside pickup, which is one of the things that if we could reduce through an ordinance the cost of people's garbage, $5 to $7 a month, I think people would be very receptive, and we just need to find out how to go about doing that. And that would alleviate a lot of our problems with people burning things, and you wouldn't have the need to burn things unless it was absolutely necessary if we picked up all of the available garbage and waste on the side of the road. So that's why we're trying to address this issue, and we've met in the last 3 years with all of the vendors within the parish, asked them to come forward with different policies, different ideas that we can reduce the rates here, and they haven't been able to agree on a system with doing things, and so we're looking to either go in a smaller pilot area where we take a garbage district and do it in one area and see how it works, or either go to the parish area. So we're just getting started with this discussion. No decisions are being made. We want to let everybody know that, give us some of your suggestions and your ideas, and we're starting to move forward on this, and that's why we're having this meeting, to get input from everyone. Any other discussions or anything? And I wanted to let people know that Beth would be the person that we would send information to, and we would try to move forward with it. And with that, Brian and Randy is attending now. Yes.
Real quick on the garbage, this is a good thing. We need to move forward with something. Like Kent said, they've been working on it. Y'all probably been working on it for years before we got around. We've been working on it for the last 3 years to try to get something. And the main thing is to have the availability for people to get rid of their garbage. And nobody's throwing something on a gravel road somewhere and just burning excess things. So, I mean, it's a good thing. And recycling involved in that. We have some, like the Recycle Roadshow and all that, but if we can get it out to the people's yard, that's the biggest thing.
You know, just for information, our biggest obstacle has been collections, because it's private. We have tried to find a way to collect. If you have a water system, you can always turn off the water. You can't turn off the garbage, and if they don't collect. So we have to find a way to work it out, collections. And also, we were very, very conscious of the fact that we have different vendors in here that we didn't want to try to put out of business. We want to try to get them to work together to see if we could maintain the vendors that we did have. That may happen, it may not happen. If we, have an opportunity to save that much money for the parish residences, we don't know. We're going to try to do what's best for the people of the parish. So hopefully everyone can participate, but these are one of the issues that we want to attack here.
Kent, could we charge with the administration with a date to bring us back?
Well, we're going to
all
put it
the-
on the agenda for next month. These things will be on the agenda for the next month, and either it'll be a report or a status that we're moving forward with things. Also want to let people know that Ricky Compton, our planning director, is working on a number of issues, subdivision regulations, building regulations, construction regulations on building things, zoning issues. And what he's trying to do, the reason we hadn't taken some of them and put forth some of them that I thought should be ready right now, is that we don't want to have conflicts. We're finding that as we do things individually, it brings out conflicts that we see in other areas. So we're trying to avoid that, so he's looking through everything on a comprehensive basis, and he's going to, when he gets something that he can bring forward, and he knows what the issues that we have, he'll bring that forward where it's not in conflict with something else that we're doing, or the wordage. So please, at this time, list your issues. If you have something that you want to see addressed or anything, please send that to either myself or Ricky, and they're trying to do the legwork on that right now, and get it back to us where we can go through and send it through the Planning Commission and on up here.
Just for Beth's clarification, though, are you asking her to have this information prepared so that she doesn't feel like she has to step forward without the proper information?
Next month, we're going to see what the status is now. We're going to keep it on the agenda until we go forward and make a decision to either take it off the agenda, that we're not going to do it, or we're going to come to a conclusion. We've been talking about this and beating around the bush for a long time. Probably, I think, 6 or 7 years. And it's time for either we address it or we put it behind us and say we're not going to do anything about it. So we'd just like to come to some type of conclusion. And I've spoken with Beth about it, so.
Yeah, I think what we're going to eventually need to do with this, to whether we're going to make up our mind to move forward or not, is probably see if there's some kind of straw poll that we can take of some of the citizens and see if they'd be willing to support some action like this, because obviously it's going to be a tax of some sort that they're going to pay towards the garbage pickup, and it'll be less than what they're paying, and everybody's going to pay it. So that's where the benefit will be in it, to where everybody's in the collection, unless we start off small and do like you were talking about with a small area, small test area type situation. But even that would still have to go through some type of election, I would imagine, in order to get that moving, right? In order for everybody to agree to pay for those type of situations, or
We're not advocating any type of, it's just the user fee that you have.
Right.
You have a user fee now that you have your garbage picked up, and I pay $27 a month. And we would just do a user, as it is right now. We're just looking at proposing a user fee that would be reduced. And Point Coupee has it at about $18, so I would be saving $9 a month to get recycling and curbside pickup besides. So I think if we could work something like that, and the numbers would work out, I think it would be very easy to move forward. People would be very satisfied. So we're just looking at a way to try to save people some money and get better services.
You got to pay a little bit less than that here in the city. So.
Right.
Ken, that includes debris removal, as I understand.
Yes.
Which is vitally important. Often I
Yes.
see spots right now on the side of the road in my district where people have trees that they have put out by the side of the road, and I honestly think they think that somebody's going to come along and pick it up.
Yes, they do.
I don't think they're aware that their garbage service does not include that.
Right.
Any other input, discussions? Okay, with that, we come to
Motion
Item
adjourned, Mr.
7.
Chairman.
motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Kluat to adjourn. Any objections? We are hereby adjourned.